Woman leaves a dentist of 12 years mid-appointment after blood boiling experience, and here's why. And we are back with yet another amazing educational edition of Chew on This. K-Dog, what's up?
Hey, I know everybody missed us, and thank goodness we are back for another exciting episode. Let's do this.
Yes. So, you know what? When I don't see you, Kevin, when we don't record, I get really stressed out.
Well, I don't
How's
want
that?
you to be stressed out. I really don't. And, I don't want our listeners to be stressed out either. That's the
So
thing.
kind.
Well, I'm a giver. What can I say? So we had an interesting article on drbicuspid.com. And in case this is your first episode or you don't remember, I'm the editor-in-chief for Dr. Bicuspid. Would love to have you on board there. So come check out the things that we're doing. But right before the election, which of course now is in the rearview mirror, right before the election, I had a prosthodontist come on and write an article about the stressful times that we go through and how it impacts our teeth. And, it was something that I was really glad that she did this. She's a professor at Tufts University up in Boston. But she talked about how that we in the dental industry need to be talking to our patients more about their stress levels and then figuring out, is this going to take a mouth guard? Do we need to talk to them about Bruxism? All the TMJ, all the different things that go along with stress, and how in the dental industry we need to be kind of taking that first step, because we talk about, do you smoke? All the different things that we ask about the stress levels. Or do we even just open up that conversation? And it was a really cool article because, yes, the election was stressful. No doubt about that. But know
for sure.
Stress isn't in the rearview mirror. We've got the holidays. You've got tax time. All these different things that are going to come up that are very stressful. Your favorite sports team may be going for the championship. So how does that make us grind our teeth a little bit more? And so it opened up an interesting conversation. Do you think we need to be talking to our patients more about their stress levels when they walk into the practice?
I think so. I mean, definitely having worked the front desk for so long, I can tell when somebody's stressed already when they come in. Even sometimes on the phone, just their type. So type A's just run at a different level, right? Like want everything to be the right way. And that's fine. But maybe we should start asking on our intake forms, how happy are you in your marriage? How crazy are your kids? Does your neighbor bother you? Have you ever appeared on a reality TV show?
Ooh.
Maybe that's the stuff we should be asking, Kevin.
My assistants would love to dive into that a lot more than they would what medication list. There's no doubt about that. So
it is interesting, though. So first of all, our whole nation has really focused on mental health and wellness and all of that. So I'm glad that dentistry is getting involved with that. But, we have been treating headaches as a result of, TMD, temporomandibular disorder. We have to treat them with that lots of different ways, medical and dental. Botox has been used in our offices to reduce headaches and stuff. In fact, I know some people, when there was a Botox shortage, not being able to get their Botox was almost debilitating for them because of the migraines that they get. So yeah, I mean, definitely the election added stress. I know my stress vanished because I stopped getting a million text messages from all the campaigns.
Amen.
Holy cow. So yeah, I definitely think there should be something on our forms about, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your stress level? I don't know if that's on there. Maybe it is. I just haven't seen it.
I don't recall it, actually. So, and then the other thing that I thought about with this, whenever she's saying, should we be talking to our patients more about stress? I'm going, when they walk in those doors, we know the stress level rises. There aren't that many that really look forward to this. So, how do we take into account outside of the practice? What would you say your stress level is, or something like that? Because if it's a 6 before they walk in, it may be an 8 or a 9 by the time they sit in that chair.
Oh, for sure. That's a good point. There's actually multiple studies that have been done over time that there is something called white coat syndrome. Have you heard of this, Kevin?
Yes, I have. Yep.
So as somebody walks in with a doctor or dentist white coat, stress levels go up. Actually, there's 2 sides to it. First of all, elderly people, seniors, tend to trust white coats, but younger people now have this reaction of white coat syndrome, meaning that they're nervous, they're scared, their stress levels go up. I don't know if that's because they just think that somebody in a white coat is going to give them bad news all the time, but that seems to be what the crux of it is. So I don't know. I don't get nervous when someone with a white coat comes at me. Do you?
I don't, but I wonder if it's because we know the behind the scenes stuff. I think
Mm-hmm.
if you're not involved in medicine or dentistry in any way, yeah, do you worry about what that person's going to say? Or are you anticipating they're going to say, yeah, you need to lose some weight. Yeah, you need to exercise more. Yeah, you need to have that
Yeah.
spot taken care of that we've been putting off now and on a watch for a year,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if it's one of those things where the more you come to an office, the less stress you feel, or, or is it always there? But you're right, though. We do need a way to measure stress. Now, your bride, the lovely Dana of Navoni, is a
Yes.
electronic health records person. She's good with
Yes.
forms. We should probably ask her if she's seen that stress level on any of these intake forms.
You
We should
know,
probably should check in with her.
I will. After we get off the podcast, I have a conversation topic to throw at her. She's going to be like, why are we talking about this? And I'm going to say, because on the latest episode of Chew on This. And then she'll want to listen, I'm sure. So I have no
Well, and then she'll be like, man, every time you talk to Teresa, you come back with all these crazy questions for me. But we love you, Dana. All right.
Absolutely. And you know what else
Yeah.
Dana loves? She
What?
loves reality TV. Did you know that?
Oh, yes. And so I know somebody who's very stressed by the dentist office,
Oh,
and
so.
her name is Veronica Rodriguez. And now this caught my attention because she is on 90 Day Fiance.
Oh, no.
And you and I both love reality TV. You have a favorite show. What is your favorite show?
Temptation Island. Absolutely. Anytime
And
that we're ready for the new season right now.
And I am a 90 Day Fiance. It's really embarrassing, but I love 90 Day Fiance. All of the different shows before the 90 days, after the 90 days. I don't know. There's so many different versions of it. And I do have a soft spot for 600-Pound Life, although I can only watch every now and then because I tend to binge, and this is not good for my productivity. So, okay, going back to 90 Day Fiance. The reason why I'm talking about it is Veronica Rodriguez. There's Veronica and Tim. So if those of you who are like, Veronica who? If you're a watcher, you know Veronica and Tim. They're hilarious. But anyways, Veronica is one of my favorite people on the show. So when a dental article came across with Veronica, I was like, this is Christmas. This is amazing. And then I read, because I thought she was going to be like, oh, new smile, all this kind of stuff. No. Veronica is not happy. And Veronica's down in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So now I'm dying to find out who the office is. But, of course, I can't go searching for that kind of stuff.
No.
I will, though. I'm telling you I will. Okay, so so she is, and we're going to tag her on Instagram on this because she needs to know that there might be other reasons. But what I thought would be fun, Kevin, for you and for the listeners is let's do one of the things I used to do when I was an in-office consultant, which is autopsy. We would autopsy an event. Okay. So I would like to tell you what happened at this event. Ooh. And then I would love your thoughts on how they could have either fixed it or was she being dramatic? And Veronica, if you're listening to this, I love you to death. I love you and Tim, but you are a little dramatic. I think she's not going to disagree with that. Okay, so
all right.
Would you like to hear the details of Veronica and Tim? Or no, it's just Veronica. I'm sorry, it's not Tim. Tim was not involved. Tim, don't get mad at me. Why am I talking to Tim like I know Tim? Okay. All right, so this is the title, Kevin. This is shocking. They're all a scam. Woman leaves a dentist of 12 years mid-appointment after blood boiling experience, and here's why. And then another subtitle, the exact same thing happened to me. Because what happened was she went on social media, on TikTok, to complain about it, and then all the comments came up. And of course, I'm not on the TikTok, so somebody's going to have to verify this. I'm going to have to grab my son's phone. But apparently everybody thought that everybody had their own story of how she's not alone. Okay. So let me read this to you.
Bring it.
She has a usual dental office that she's been going to for years. All right. So she said in her TikTok, I literally just leapt off the chair at the dentist's office and literally nobody stopped me. You always know it's very important when literally is done twice. Okay. So literally. You know that. Yes. She's been going to the same place for 12 years and her teeth are gorgeous. I will say her teeth are gorgeous. I've always thought she had a great smile. She's gone to the dentist for her biannual cleaning. gone to the same place. As soon as she walked in, she said she noticed everyone at the front desk was new and different and young. Okay, so she said she was also told that her usual dentist wasn't in the office that particular day. Do you have an issue with that right there? She was turned off by the new staff, in part because one of the women was loudly talking about a recent hookup.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the first thing I hear when I walk in is, oh, yeah, I totally hooked up with him last weekend. Okay, not good. All right. Then it was time for Rodriguez and her daughter, Chloe, which Chloe's wonderful too, to get their teeth cleaned. So she said the usual hygienist cleaned Chloe's teeth, and then a new woman claimed Veronica's teeth, which if this office knew Veronica, I would never have given the new hygienist to Veronica. But that's a whole different thing. All right. Things started off on the wrong foot when the hygienist was adamant that Rodriguez needed x-rays, despite Rodriguez saying she just got them done 6 months prior. After the x-rays were finished, she disclosed that she was experiencing sensitivity in a part of her mouth near her gum line. Okay, after a prolonged period of the hygienist apparently checking, in quotations, Rodriguez's teeth and gums, Rodriguez said the worker rudely recommended that she get a cleaning every 3 to 4 months. She said she couldn't do this due to scheduling conflicts and the fact that additional cleanings aren't covered by insurance.
Yep.
Veronica, we have to talk about that last part. All right. She also pointed out to the hygienist that the whole, in quotes, whole poking and prodding thing has never taken that long, end quote. Hygienist explained that the gum inspection needed to be performed by law every year. Okay. She accused Rodriguez of skipping the past 2 years. I come here and I've been coming here for 12 years. And Rodriguez responded, so what you're saying is you guys didn't do your job, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah. It sounds like, honestly, this is the kind of thing where as an office manager, I'm really like either hiding in my office or I'm trying to put the kibosh on everything right now.
Absolutely.
And if I was a patient in the waiting room, I'm getting closer and closer to the bathroom to listen in. All right. So she said, Rodriguez said, my job is to show up. My job is to put my butt in this chair and make the appointment. It's y'all's job to tell me what my teeth need. I'm not a dentist or dental hygienist. I don't know these things. That's why I come here. This is a rant at this point, right?
It is. Yep.
Okay. Wow. She said she abruptly ended her appointment early after the hygienist made a snarky remark about how Rodriguez needed a deep cleaning but didn't want to get one done. She said the hygienist pleaded with her to let her finish the job, but Rodriguez was adamant that she was done. She said, you took x-rays, made my gums bleed, and then shamed me for it. People don't want to come to the dentist to begin with, but you physically hurting me and then insulting me is really not getting us anywhere. This is wild. Okay. This is an awful thing to go through in the office.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've had patients be upset for various reasons, but never one with a bullhorn like this. Okay.
Yeah.
So in the end, Rodriguez said she just didn't feel comfortable with the new hygienist. She called the worker belligerent and argumentative. I literally didn't feel safe, she said. Rodriguez then tried to locate an office manager who was apparently tied up on the phone. So she wanted to leave then. She went to check on her daughter. Teeth had been cleaned but had not been checked by the on-call dentist. So she's now trying to figure out if her daughter or her were going to get charged because neither of their appointments were technically finished. But, I mean, come on. That's because you want to leave, right? So she said none of the front desk workers, including the one who had joked about her prior hookups, had any answers. And then to make matters worse, the office manager apparently refused to speak to Rodriguez, who said as she left that she jokingly dared the office to bill her because she would take them to small claims court. The unfortunate part is now I need a new dentist. And I really think if the dentist had been there today, all of this could have been avoided. Okay, so then another family dental care, Moon Family Dental Care, which is not where she went, chimed in. I guess they had been reached out for comment, said, you know, typically deep cleanings are reserved for patients with advanced gum disease, blah, blah, blah. It added that some dental offices will push for these procedures by using fear tactics on patients. Because of this, Moon Family said it's important to seek an opinion from an independent private dental office. And then TikTok users. I worked in the dental field for 11 and a half years, one person said. They're all a scam. I swear the dentist, another added, has become a moneymaker. It's always something with them. And then several of them said they wondered if it had gone corporate.
Oh,
so,
interesting.
Very interesting. Okay, let me see here. So many x-rays, one woman said. This happened to me, almost exactly happened to me in Albuquerque. So many x-rays, and when I said I had enough, they tried to shame me. I walked out. Some users guessed that Rodriguez's dentist went corporate, had sold their practice. This could explain new workers and insistence on unnecessary procedures. Another person guessed probably a corporate buyout. Another said, sounds like your dentist sold the practice to a corporate dental company. This is what happened with my longtime dentist. And then it sounds like your dental practice got sold or bought out. They're cleaning house, another viewer added. So they're treating you like a new patient. That is this whole story. There's clips of her talking, but K Dog, the autopsy now begins.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. That's a lot,
That's
right?
a
Like,
lot. It
to
is.
me, and I might be using this in classes. You could probably use this in
I love
classes
this
too.
stuff.
Like,
Yeah.
how on earth could they have solved this issue for her? But it sounds like from the beginning, like just setting the tone, somebody talking about the hookups, like
Yeah.
that's kind of low rent stuff. Like, come on now. Come on.
Yeah.
If that's in fact what happened, I should say.
Right. Allegedly, right? We love to use that word. And it is a thing that I think that we have to, in the dental industry, remember that this woman is very well known on 90 Day Fiance. I'll be honest,
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that show, but I know she is. And I also know that it doesn't matter whether somebody is not on a reality show or is, they can walk
Yeah.
into a practice and go on social media and rant about something, and people will come on and say, oh my God, that's my experience too. And it will just
Yeah.
snowball. And so I think we have to, in the dental industry, really understand that patient's a priority, even those who are maybe a little demanding, even those who are maybe a little high intensity, shall we say. But I think it starts off with what you just said. She wasn't comfortable with the new team members who were there,
Right.
and
Right.
she got a very bad taste in her mouth for the new team members right after she walked in. And I think
Yeah.
right there, the whole thing spiraled downhill.
And I think too, not being told that your regular dentist isn't going to be there. For some patients, they don't care. I've been through this. Some
Yep,
patients don't care. But some patients are very, very attached to their doctor. And you
absolutely.
tend to know who that is, right? Like there are certain patients I can think of that I would never tell them. Like I would call them and say, he's not going to be here. Are you okay? Because they plan to see him, right?
Yeah,
Some don't care. She obviously cares. So that's another thing. And if this is true, so office managers don't jump on me. I'm saying if this is true,
yep.
the office manager not wanting to talk to her is a problem
Amen.
because as the manager, the buck stops at you before it goes to the owner. And if I'm seeing an issue, and this is not something that would have surprised the manager, this would have been whispered and talked about during the whole appointment because comments would have been made, all that kind of stuff. Like I'm telling you, this is not something that would have surprised a manager. They probably knew something was going on, and maybe they made the decision to not be available. And that is not cool.
It's not, and I'm going to jump to the corporate side of things because obviously that's
Okay.
been brought up. And if this was truly a corporate practice, and correct me if I'm wrong, those managers are empowered to take control of the situation and are expected to take control of that situation. So,
100%.
yeah, so that to me is almost, and this is going to sound really rash, but it's almost a fireable offense
Oh, I
because,
think so.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because that is shirking your duties if that's truly a corporate setting and that's what's expected of that office manager.
Well, and I think that there's a couple different layers you could go to. So perhaps it is not a corporate setting. Okay. So the viewers, the commenters jump to it because of the level of,
Mhm.
I guess, anger and the weirdness of it all. Let's
Yeah,
be honest. It's a weird interaction. So they jump to corporate, but I definitely know a couple of small offices that are privately owned where something like this would have happened too. Because
correct.
so in corporates, like you said, the manager would have been empowered, probably, would have reached back out and all that because corporates are actually aware of the more of the social media aspect than I think a small solo office. So I don't know if corporations had anything to do with it. And you and I have always said, same as solo offices, there's some excellent corporates. There's some really bad corporates.
Oh,
So
absolutely. No doubt. No
excellent solos, really badly run solos. So I don't know if that's the case, but there is something to be said for when there is a focus on efficiency and money and revenue that they do start looking at this. So the one giveaway I'll say is that if she had x-rays 6 months ago, obviously she'd been back. So the hygienist said something about she hadn't been in or she's,
right.
whatever. They just had x-rays 6 months ago. So that's inconsistency. But the other piece is if she just had x-rays 6 months ago and they want another set of x-rays, that does sound to me like new ones coming in
And
and establishing their own baseline. That does jive with what
absolutely.
people
Well,
are
and
saying.
I'm curious because obviously the patient thought one thing, the practice is saying another, but the chart's right there, right? I mean, there's something that says this is what we did, unless they did that thing that Teresa always talks about that some practices do is that they don't document correctly, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I don't want to hand a lawsuit to Veronica, but honestly, was she supposed to see a dentist? And did the dentist just not get in there to see her? Because seeing a patient without a written prescription and having x-rays taken without a written prescription,
It's a problem.
that's wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. And I do take offense with the hygienist saying by law, because honestly,
Yeah.
that to me is scaremongering right there. It is ethically, they do need x-rays once a year, but actually that's a guideline.
Yep.
And if her teeth are good and she's been going for a while, it could conceivably be a year before she needs them again. It's individual,
Right.
right? The prescription for
Absolutely.
radiographs. So she may not have needed it. She may have needed it. But the hygienist is not the one who can make that decision.
And you mentioned a minute ago about there are patients who you would have said this dentist is out. I will tell you, I'm that patient that if the hygienist is out, I want to know I'm not seeing Valerie, my normal
Mm-hmm.
hygienist here in Colorado, because that's
Mm-hmm.
going to change the whole outlook for me completely. I trust Valerie with every ounce of my being. And
Yeah.
when there's a
Yeah.
new hygienist all of a sudden, I will tell you that would raise my stress levels we talked about earlier. That would raise it a little bit.
Well, and so another spin on that, that's an excellent point, because there are patients that if they find out their regulars aren't there, they
Yeah.
reschedule. I get it. But I would be okay with a new hygienist if my dentist was there. Like I would be like, okay, well, I guess all right, he trusts her. I mean, she's obviously here, so he must think she does a good job. But to have a new hygienist and a new
Yeah.
dentist and new team members, of course you're going to feel like you're in a whole different environment. Of course. And that team, and again, if this is true, so team doesn't don't get mad at me.
Right.
If this is true, that team could have done a better job of introducing themselves.
For sure.
We've never met before. Like you should be doing that anyways. We've never met before. Hi, my name is. Nice to meet you. We'll be with you in a minute. But that's like manners 101, right? So, but that's another thing you and I have talked about.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
our office team members across all of the jobs, we should be a little bit better about introducing niceties, small talk, manners, all that kind of thing.
Well, and you and I have talked about this ad nauseum, it feels like, but I do want to say we spend so much time worrying about how our assistants are going to be clinically who are brand new, how our team members up front are going to be in terms of insurance verification or whatever else it
Mm,
might be. We don't take the time to make sure that they have people skills that translate to what we want our practice to be either. And I
yeah.
think that that's
Yeah.
something that we in the dental industry have to invest as much time into their communication and people skills as we do any kind of clinical sterilization, infection control, whatever it might be, skills as well.
So, one last thing, and then we'll wrap this up because, we're doing all this allegedly. But she did say something that I want to focus on. And Veronica, please don't take this the wrong way. I'm just going to assume she listens to the podcast. So,
She listens
um,
to every episode. Come on, we know
oh
that.
gosh, of course she does. So, she did say she doesn't get the extra cleanings because her insurance doesn't cover it.
Uh,
That's not a reason to not get extra cleanings. If you need the extra cleanings, you need the extra cleanings. And, insurance is not there to cover everything, and it's not going to cover everything. If the dentist tells you you need work and you trust the dentist's opinion, just because your insurance doesn't cover it is not a reason. And that's, I think, why we have a big issue in dentistry where people tend to stop and only do what insurance covers. But I mean, let's be honest, and insurance isn't the one in your mouth. So,
right.
honestly, I just want to caution people that just because something's not covered doesn't mean it's not necessary. We talked about it in a previous podcast. Like, really, the reason for brushing your teeth or getting your teeth cleaned twice a year was the army. Is that
Yep.
correct? Like,
Exactly
we
right.
did that. The army did that. And it's
Exactly right.
not like it's like huge studies being put out about, oh, 6 months, every 6 months your teeth fall out. Like, so,
Oh, it was done
you
for the
should listen
soldiers
to your
to
dentist.
keep on in World War II battles. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I think I've shared with you, and I probably share on this podcast, I go for cleaning every 4 months. And you're right.
Okay.
There's that extra cleaning in there that isn't covered. But I will tell you, my dental practice, Valerie the hygienist, I know I have recession in my gums. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that there are things that I'm battling that takes more care than maybe somebody else. Yes, I'm in the dental industry, but that was also explained to me very well so that I
Yeah.
understood the importance of it. And I think that's again something that we overlook with cramped schedules and everything else, and sometimes need to turn the room over or whatever it might be, is that we don't take the time to make sure that patient really understands these are the radiographs, these are the photos, this is the proof. We're not here to make money. We're here to make your oral health better, period.
Honestly, I think a lot of people could get their teeth cleaned more than twice a year. I mean, if you look at the amount of energy drinks, wine, soda,
Sure.
sugar, our nation is a sugar nation. We probably could use every 4 months, right? So I don't think that's a bad idea, honestly. But is insurance going to cover that? Probably not. But if you're killing M&Ms and sucking on Mountain Dew, iced tea is terrible.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
my whole family, your family's in the South, my family's in the
Absolutely.
South. That's, put it in the bottle of a lot of people. So
Absolutely.
we probably do need our teeth cleaned more than, twice a year. And I'm telling you, Veronica's teeth are gorgeous. So if I'm Veronica, I'm going more than twice a year too, because
Well,
I wish I had those teeth actually. So,
and since Veronica's listening, let's just say we know that she's a reality star. So the appearance is everything, right? So it's
that's right.
absolutely vital to do what you need to do for that.
That's right. That's right. So, and Veronica, I'll just say I was rooting for you and Jamal, but I understand why things didn't happen. So that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I know Kevin's like, what? I just got to
Wait, I was all about Tim, and now you mentioned Jamal, so I'm nervous.
Tim and her were together at one point, but now they're really best friends. They're like the best friends. Like at the end of their lives, they're going to get married again just to be together. Like, you know what I mean? It's like
That's
you and
right.
me, seriously. Like, you're my Tim. Oh my God, you're my Tim.
So are you my Veronica?
I might be.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, I've got a lot to think about now.
Oh my God, this totally took a wrong turn here. By the way, did you miss our December 2 on this webinar? It was a good one. Don't worry, you can still catch the replay and get ahead of the curve with all the industry trends that we shared. 2025 is going to be amazing. Click the link in the show notes to watch the full replay now. Don't miss out. Okay, Doc, any last closing thoughts?
No, I have a lot to think about after we finish this podcast. But no. I mean, I think in all seriousness, I think we had some really good reminders today for everybody about when that new patient walks in and you sense those stress levels. What can you do to tamp that down? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and make stress conversations a part of the whole patient inquiry. I actually think that's a good idea to do that. So, all right, dear listeners, hopefully this wasn't stressful for you, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Chew on This. We hope you laughed and learned a little.
Check out the show notes for any links we mentioned, and don't forget to give us a rating on your podcast app. Feel free to drop us a comment on social media or by email if you have any suggestions for future topics.
We'll be back in about 2 weeks. See you then.